Hey everyone, this is a quick NVIDIA technical analysis breakdown looking at the recent action as well as what NVIDIA actually looked like before the super strong breakout from the, pretty much 4 month base, as well as, of course, through that kind of key 500 level. But the key thing I want to talk about today in this video, and this is something that Oliver mentioned in the recent webinar, is some kind of important clues in the price action during this area right here that could have gotten you prepared for something like here. Basically, subtle signs of relative strength here that would have got NVIDIA on your radar so you're ready to take advantage of this breakout. Recently, it's done exactly what the best breakouts usually do, continues higher on a pickup in volume, and even, amid not the strongest market today, a lot of the stocks on my wide watch list are actually in the red. We're still seeing really nice action, nice move off lows here. And, ideal price action would just be continue to trend upward, forming higher highs and higher lows above a rising 21 EMA. Even a short flag sideways here would be constructive and potentially even add or create an add opportunity as it kind of reconfirms higher. But let's dive into the analysis of this area right here. And I want to bring up the SPY in comparison, as well as the relative strength line here in deep view. So let's take a look at this area and talk about the price action. And to do this, we're going to go back in time here and switch on over to a 65-minute chart. So let's go back in time and take a look at this area. So this was, a week ago or so. We have SPY kind of trending higher. NVIDIA is actually kind of underperforming. We saw AMD kind of take the reins for a few months, and during this area still, NVIDIA was mostly basing. We had respected that 50-day moving average, but still we're kind of, not setting up too well. We were approaching this level, and we actually get a break lower here. So you can see the SPY gap down. We also have a move lower in NVIDIA, and then if we move forward a few days, and let's actually use the arrow keys here in deep view, we see this day where we've got a pickup in volume, follow through lower, and the expectation is we're kind of in a down cycle. We're below the 21 EMA here. SPY is also moving lower, and NVIDIA just looks like it's in a down cycle. But moving forward a few days, it refuses to go lower, and this is kind of the first key clue I wanted to highlight today in this video. It kind of forms this range here. After a bar like this, where we move below this consolidation, close low in the range, we actually try to rally and then move back down on a pickup in volume. The expectation is we continue lower from this point, but instead we're forming a range, still potentially, a bear flag. We're below that 21 EMA, but moving forward a few more days, we're still building out this range. Then the next bar here, we actually get a nice move higher from this range on a pickup in volume. SPY is also rallying a little bit. We're still forming lower lows here on the SPY ETF, but you can see the relative strength of NVIDIA is actually increasing at this point. So we're starting to outperform the index a little bit. Moving forward, we fall through the next bar. We're back above that 21 EMA, also above the 200-day moving average on the 65-minute time frame. SPY is also, moving slightly higher. NVIDIA is definitely a little bit stronger, and we actually move above the 21 EMA, the signal line on the relative strength line here in deep view. So NVIDIA is starting to outperform the market as we're continuing lower on the SPY, and a lot of stocks are continuing lower as well. We break back below the moving averages. SPY also, you can see, is moving lower. And we're starting to build out this flag on NVIDIA. And you can see how this chart here of NVIDIA is a lot stronger than SPY. We're potentially bottoming here. We're forming, a higher shelf in this area, and SPY is still just in that overall downtrend. Moving lower, we're still building that flag. NVIDIA breaking lower doesn't look too good. We'll see if it holds this range, but SPY at the same time is forming an entirely new low here. So NVIDIA is clearly outperforming despite the negative price action on this last bar. You can see the RS line is actually increasing on this bar right here, this 65-minute bar. And then we get this really nice decisive move upward on the 65-minute time frame. This was January 5th, right in the morning here. SPY is also acting well, but NVIDIA is just ahead of it in the cycle. It potentially bottomed here, formed a higher low, and now is reconfirming upwards just as the SPY is moving off, the initial downtrend. So NVIDIA is leading it in the cycle. We're back above a rising 21 EMA and even the 50 SMA here on the 65-minute time frame. Nice fall through upward. SPY, you can see, is a lot weaker here. Moving forward, inside bar, another inside bar, building out a flag. This doesn't look too good, but we're still just kind of forming the range, still above the moving averages, above the 50 SMA. And you can see the SPY is still a lot weaker. We're still basically making lower highs and lower lows on the index, while this has already had one higher low. And if we reconfirm higher, it would form one more higher low here. So definitely leading the rest of the market. And we actually see a relative strength new high before price pop up here in deep view. Definitely a key sign again to be watching NVIDIA. And what's important here is that it's setting up a nice structure on the 65-minute time frame, but this lines up with daily pivots near the 500 level, this prior key high, as well as the higher time frame weekly and monthly pivots, because it's been consolidating for so long. So everything's kind of lining up on multiple time frames. Nice upside reversal as the market kind of does something similar, respecting the 21 EMA, 50 SMA area, and then boom. So at this point, the market closed on this day. Let's go one bar back. We're setting up potentially through this high. That's a pivot. These highs, that's a pivot. This high, that's a pivot. The 500 level is a pivot. And of course, if those trigger, it's going to trigger that longer monthly base that's been forming under that pretty much 500 level. So at this point, clear relative strength versus the market. Look at the strength of this chart versus the market. Let me actually make this a little bit bigger here. And you can see this is just in a downtrend. This is forming higher highs and higher lows. And you're potentially watching this for the next day for a potential breakout move through this level. You can manage risk right under the previous low of the day or the low of the breakout day. So let's step forward one. There we go. We get this nice decisive move, huge volume coming in, strength right off the open through this pivot, through the 500 level. That's another potential add spot through these highs, as well as through these highs. And of course, this is the overall base that we're taking a look at. And let's just keep stepping forward. Even after this huge bar, you can see that we go tight. We're not giving anything back. This is a monster bar, kind of a character change bar, a decisive move. And we're still not, leaking down below. They're still bidding up this stock. We reconfirm higher. SPY is moving off lows, so it's now starting a new potential cycle. And this is just ahead of it in the cycle with the base and break, as this is just moving off this short-term correction lows. Still trending higher, reconfirming. A little bit of selling came in, but we've had a really good closing range. Reconfirms higher, boom, boom, just acting really well, especially relative to the market. This bar, of course, isn't a positive. Relative strength is decreasing here, but it's pretty normal given this powerful move it's had in just a day or two. One day of give back like this, while we're still above a rising 21 EMA, is to be expected, and you have a little bit of a poor close here on that previous bar. And what happens after this bar, which was at the close on January 9th, we have a gap up and go. So an immediate bid up, even with any weakness coming in. Continue higher, forming a little bit of a tight area from this point. It can expand either upwards or downwards, and we'll see what happens. Still going sideways. We gap up, don't have the best close, so some sellers came in off the open here. We continue lower from that, but again, immediate bid up and just riding that, riding above that 21 EMA really nicely, not even testing it really. And we continue higher, forming a little bit of a base here below this pivot before 553, getting really tight again above that 21 EMA. Remember, this can break either way. Really, really tight closes, and then boom, reconfirmation up. So in this area, tight area on no volume whatsoever. There's no sellers coming in, and they're just bidding up the price anytime it really tries to go lower. We reconfirm to the upside. You can see SPY is acting well. We're in an uptrend. We're just kind of basing this area, but NVIDIA is clearly leading the pack. We're breaking out as the SPY does an upside reversal. faltered to the upside, nice volume coming in. We're starting to go sideways. You can see how strong NVIDIA is compared to the SPY. Relative strength has been in an uptrend, since this crossover signal here. This is where we broke above the signal line. Relative strength, new highs before price throughout this move upwards. And just going forward, we get tight again. We do get downside from this tightness, after a few days up, powerful days up like this. This is kind of normal. We're still above that 21 EMA and well above the 21 EMA on the daily chart. At this point, if you bought early on this day, you're just kind of moving up your stops. If you're much more aggressive and you kind of like manage things on an intraday, at these higher lows. But if you're on a daily, the 21 EMA, well, first of all, your stops can definitely be at your cost or even kind of riding the daily moving averages higher as NVIDIA continues to make progress. But again, after the selling, nice action inside bar. After that happens, goes tight again, moves up slightly, and that's where we're currently at. So acting really well, holding the 65-minute 21 EMA. The best breakouts really hold that during that first leg upwards. And going back to a daily chart, let's go ahead and do that. You can see just a nice expansion move upwards, nice bid up here. 21 EMA on the daily is around 513. Your stops can just be at that, looking for a close below that because we are seeing nice bid up action or two closes on that if you like to hold the position a little bit longer. But really nice expansion move. I just want to highlight the relative strength in this area, the higher lows as the market was making lower lows. Let me fix that there. And you can see just the divergence and kind of the overall setup come together where the daily pivots were being met. You had a breakout through that prior high, these prior highs, as well as the longer term base that's been started since, way back in August, but even, we hadn't made much progress since all the way back in July. So just a few things to look at for similar type situations going into the future. And of course, the overall group, that's an important factor, and NVIDIA definitely has that going for it with a lot of, strong kind of sister stock action, AMD, and a bunch of other names as well. So hopefully this is helpful, and feel free to add your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear what basically your thoughts as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in future videos.